Hey kids, I want to talk to you for just a second. Are you excited to be in the big group with mom and dad today? I'm going to give you one more chance because I think you really are excited because this is fun. We're having fun. We just played an epic game of paper, rock, scissors. We sang fun songs and did motions, and we even did a Bible memory verse. So I'm going to ask you one more time, kids. I want to hear you because I'm pretty deaf from the singing. Are you excited to be in here with mom and dad today? Yeah, man, I'm so excited. We love kids. We love kids. Did you know kids are not just the future church? Because a church is anyone who's following Jesus. And so kids, look at me. You are the church right now. Because the church is anyone who follows Jesus. There's no minimum age to be part of the church. Come on, somebody say amen to that. We really believe in having a talk-back church. So like, you're allowed to say, hey, that's right, or amen, if you hear something that you agree with. And so you don't have to sit quietly. You can actually talk back at me, which is so exciting. Can we just take a second? Moms, dads, non-parent adults. Can we just say how much we love having the kids in here with us tonight? Come on, is anybody here excited to have the kids in here with us tonight? Come on, let them know. Let them know that we love having them in here. This doesn't get to happen very much. If you come back, I promise, the night will not be as entertaining. Because I don't know if you saw my two kids in between my wife Amy and I up here. Pretty sure they were wrestling at one point. There will probably be not any more wrestling at the Hills. But we will have just as much fun. Normally our kids, they have so much fun. We have some incredible outdoor kids classrooms, and they are right in that general direction. So if you come back next week, come a little early, get the kids checked in, and we will have an adult time that will not have any wrestling. There won't be crayons, no coloring sheets. By the way, under your bucket there's a notes, and on the back of the notes there's coloring sheets. So if my message gets really boring, adults, you can color too. But we love kids. We also really, really love parents. It's incredible to see the sacrifice that moms and dads and grandparents and even aunts and uncles and people who aren't even parents make into the lives of kids. And we even believe there's a special kind of parent that's someone that you don't even have a physical child, but you are caring for someone as a spiritual parent. So we love spiritual parents. But not everyone is a physical parent. Not everyone is even a spiritual parent. But everybody has had parents at one point or another. And so this message is for you. Whether you live at home with your parents, maybe you moved out from your parents' place and you live all by yourself in a shed. Maybe you already have kids of your own. Maybe you have grandkids. Maybe you're not even living with anybody. This message is for you because everybody has had parents. And so even for grown-ups, I want you to listen in because today we're talking about the relationship between kids and parents and how should we get along with our parents, because that's all a relationship is. A relationship is how you get along with someone. So no matter what your relationship is like with your parents, and honestly, even if you've lost your parents, how you view them affects your life. It affects every relationship you have. And so I want to invite you to listen in because we're going to talk about how you should see your parents and really what the series is all about is getting our relationships in line. So we're in a series called Top 10 Rules for Relationships. And today's all about relationships with your parents. There's lots of different kinds of relationships between parents and kids in the wild. I don't know if you know this. So like kangaroos, they just stuff their kids down in their pouch. Some of you probably wish you could do that with your kid. I kind of felt like that about 5 minutes ago, actually. There's birds, right, that kick their kids out of the nest to get them to fly. It's like that's wow. We can talk later if you want. But I've found the longest living relationship between like a parent in the wild raising a kid in the wild is orangutans. And they raise their kids for 8 years. It takes them a long time to learn how to build nests. But that is nothing compared to how long it takes humans to raise their kids, right? Like some of you like 18, pushing it a little bit, maybe 19, 20, 30, I don't know, we'll see. But regardless of how long it takes, humans, we invest the most in our kids, don't we? How much would you guess a middle-class family spends to raise one child? Kids, somebody yell out a number. 80? $100? 125?
126.
Okay, so the Department of Agriculture, they calculated the average middle-class child costs $233,610 to raise. So if you have 5 kids, you could have been a millionaire. I'm really sorry. And there's so much sacrifice. Honestly, there's so much sacrifice just in childbirth. Oh my goodness. But yeah, your parents, they do a lot, right? Just having kids. And this message is not just for kids, though. This message is for anybody, anyone who's ever had parents. Whether you've moved out, maybe you've lost your parents. This message is for you because how you see your parents affects your life. And so, and honestly, even if you're not considering yourself someone that wants to know what God has to say, I want to invite you to listen in. Because even if you don't subscribe to the teachings of Jesus, there's wisdom here. There's wisdom in this rule for relationship. It's going to help your relationships. And so here we are. We're in Exodus 20. It's verse 12. You got a little preview of it. It was a lot cuter the last time we read it, but we're going to read it again anyways. This is happening. This command is being given as Israel, God's chosen people, have left Egypt. They were in slavery and they ran away, and God opened up a freaking sea so they could go through it, and then closed it up, and all the Egyptian army like drowned. And so they're here in the desert and they're on their way to the promised land, and God gives them these top 10 rules for relationship, or as you may have heard them called, the 10 Commandments. And the reason we're calling the series Top 10 Rules for Relationship is because if you follow these, your relationships are going to be amazing. So here's number 5. Exodus 20:12, honor your father and your mother, so that you may live long in the land the Lord your God is giving you. This is God's design for how we see our parents, how we get along with our parents, our relationship with our parents. The command is honor. So does this mean that you put them up on a pedestal, like put a medal around their neck, maybe a crown on them, like sing the national anthem like they do at the Olympics? I think that might work for moms. They probably deserve it, but honestly, like, how do you honor them, right? So the word that was used was actually not an English word, the word honor. It actually was a word that means to be heavy. So where's Chloe? Chloe, why don't you come up here? Chloe's going to be my first volunteer. Chloe, I want you to help me out here. The word honor means heavy, okay? So I'm going to show Chloe 2 different medals here. And we're going to try to figure out which one is heavier, which one works more. So this one, this green one, here, hold this green one for a second. How heavy is that one?
Like, not even a pound.
It's not even a pound. She's got like an inner scale. It's amazing. Okay, so this is actually a half marathon medal that Sindel Ulig, shout out, won in Fort Worth, Texas. I did not run a half marathon, in case you were wondering. So hold this. I did not have a medal. How heavy is that one?
2 pounds.
She says 2 pounds.
2 pounds.
2 pounds, okay. So which one do you think is heavier?
This one.
This one?
Yeah, the blue one.
Which one do you think is worth more?
The blue one.
The blue one, yeah. Great job, Chloe. Hey, give Chloe a hand. So when you honor somebody, you want to pick a piece of candy? Which one do you want? M&Ms. Thanks. Give her one more hand. Good job, Chloe. So honor is not light. You can't just throw it around. It's heavy. The word honor it's kind of like a heavier metal. Like, which one would you want, right? You want the heavier one. Like, it's worth more. Another thing about honor, the word, it's got this heaviness, right? But it's worth more. And this is a little bit confusing. And I've actually got 2 more volunteers who are going to come up. Where are Sophia and Mia? Coming up here, girls. It's worth more, and it's confusing, right? Because when something's worth more, it seems like you should have to pay more for it, right? Okay, so Sophia, do you have something for me? Oh, Mia has it. Okay. So I've got 2 more candy bars right here. And Mia, which one do you think you would like? Is there one that you guys would both like?
Kit Kat.
Do you like this one?
I like Kit Kat.
Oh, they both want to fight over the Kit Kat. Well, does either of you have $1? Oh, Mia has $1, so she gets to, if you want, would you like to buy this Kit Kat from me? Here you go. Thank you. That was an exchange, right? Sophia, here, you can have this for free. Okay, now both of you stand up and face the audience. Now, which one of these girls paid for the candy bar? Mia. Was it a free gift? No. What about Sophia? Did she pay for it? She didn't even pay for it. It was a free gift. Give him a hand. Good job. You guys can go sit down. Oh, she just took her candy bar. Man, this is getting savage. So when you think, I don't want to honor my parents because they haven't earned it, that's not honor. That's actually respect. So this is, if you're taking notes, this is one of your notes. Respect is earned, but honor is freely given. It's like the candy bar that you didn't have to pay $1 for. It's freely given. And when we're talking about, like, so if you think that maybe you shouldn't let your parents have honor because they don't deserve it, that's not honor. And so another thing about honor, this is a myth that I think a lot of people have believed, and especially like different parts of the world, I've seen people believe this myth. This is your next notes if you're taking notes. The myth is that honor sees the good and ignores the bad. Does anybody know that that's not healthy? It's not healthy to ignore the bad. And sometimes you don't know what to do with the bad, right? So like you see bad things about your parents and like you want to maybe just ignore them. You see the good things and you want to see the good, right? It's good to see the good, but it's not good to ignore the bad. It can be harmful. It's going to hurt your relationships with your parents, and it's going to hurt your relationship with God, because God is your heavenly Father. And so when you try to ignore the bad things that your earthly parents have done, it's going to affect your relationship with God. So here's the truth. The better way is to highlight the good. Honor highlights the good. So like in your bucket right now, kids, I want you to grab a highlighter. Anybody know what a highlighter is? A highlighter is a marker, only it's not solid, is it? Because whenever you write over a word with a highlighter, does the word go away? No, it like lights it up. That's why it's called a highlighter, because honor highlights the good. It doesn't just see it. It's like, hey, I want other people to see this too. I'm proud of this. Honor highlights the good and learns from the bad. So like you can't just shame your parents, right? That's not honor. You can't let the bad things that have happened to you from your parents build up into bitterness or resentment. That's not healthy. But you have to do something with the bad things that you've experienced from your parents, right? Honor highlights the good and it learns from the bad. Because if you don't learn from the bad, if you try to ignore it, it's like saying, man, I've got this baby here. I see a couple babies out there. They're so cute. And what would happen if you tried to ignore the baby's diaper? What would happen to that diaper? Would it smell good or bad? I think it would smell really stinky. And so you think that if you just kept ignoring it longer and longer, it would eventually smell better? It would probably smell worse, right? And so we can't just let it be. We have to learn from the negative things that we've learned from our parents. Honor highlights the good. It learns from the bad. So this is the simplest way to say number 5. Top 10 rules for a relationship. Number 5 is this. Honor mom and dad. Highlight the good and learn from the bad. This is really simple, right? So what does it look like in your life? They're not going to learn. But you guys are with me. I believe this. So in your life, if you were a kid, listen up. If you were a kid, listen up. This is so simple. Honoring mom and dad, if you're taking notes, write this down. Honoring mom and dad means obeying on the first try. The second try? No. That's right. Somebody said no. The third try? No. Should you wait like 10 minutes and then obey them? No. Which try should you obey on? First try. That's right. That's right. In my house, we say speedy obedi. Holly, I can't remember what it was. What's the rest of it?
First time, all the way with the right heart.
Woo! First time, all the way with the right heart. That's speedy obedi. We want to be quick to obey. Quick to obey. That's how you honor mom and dad if you're a kid. Just obey, quick. In the military, there's several weeks of training. And I was actually talking to my friend John about this the other day. He was in the Army. And it's basic training. And the whole point of basic training is to teach obedience. Because if you're training and you can't obey quickly, then when you get out on the battlefield, you could die if you don't pay attention and you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing. It's important to learn obedience now when you're a kid. Because if you grow up and you don't know how to obey authority, you're going to have a really hard life. It's going to be so difficult for you. And so when you learn to obey mom and dad quickly, speedy obedi, it's a really great thing. And when you get older, your parents will not always be watching you. Some of you are in this phase right now. They're like, they're not even watching me right now. And so what do I do? How do I honor mom and dad? Speedy obedi is like they tell you to do it and you do it, right? But when you get older, how do I honor mom and dad? So when you get older, the way you honor, the best way to honor your parents is to obey them even when they're not around. So I'll say it in the way that the best way for you to honor your parents when they're not around is to obey them even when they can't see it. This is great practice because guess what? You can't see your Heavenly Father. And if you're going to obey Him, you're going to do it and you're not even going to see Him watching you. But like if you learn to obey mom and dad when they're not around, it's like you're practicing to obey your Heavenly Father. As long as you are under your parents' roof, your job is to follow their rules. Some of you are like, well, I don't know about that. But the truth is, integrity says, I'm going to do the right thing even when no one's watching. It's so important to follow mom and dad because it's going to prepare you for the rest of your life. And let me ask you this. Will you always have to obey your parents? Some of you are going to disagree with me on this. No. Listen to me though. Listen. There will come a day where you are under your own roof and you are taking care of yourself. As much as they're providing for you, that's how much you have to obey them. So some of you adults who are 100% under the care of your parents, you got to obey them because they are your meal ticket. But whenever you take care of yourself, when you take care of yourself, you get to decide whether I am going to listen to mom and dad or not. That's kind of scary, right? Like you get to decide. You won't always have to obey mom and dad. But as long as they're the ones providing for you, it's your job to obey them. And once you're out of the house, you get to decide. You can live however you want. But that's not how honor works, is it? It's not about just living however you want. Honor seeks your parents' input even when it's not needed. That's the next one. Honor seeks your parents' input even when it's not needed. Honor says, I'm going to share my life with you. Even when I'm not in a place where I have to do that. I'm not dependent on my parents. I myself am not dependent on my parents. But I still want to have a relationship with them. I still want to get along with them. I want to celebrate wins with them. I want to ask for their advice. Because honor requires relationship. If there's no relationship, it's hard to have honor if they're here on this earth. In fact, honor even strives to maintain the relationship. And it does take extra effort. But one day, the day is going to come when your parents aren't actually able to take care of themselves. And some of you are in this right now. So how do you honor your parent when they can't even take care of themselves? I think it's a hard place to be. But when your parents can't take care of themselves, honor requires you to care for them. And I'm not saying that means they have to come live in your house. What I'm saying is you make sure they're taken care of because you're going to honor them all the way until they're gone. You're going to make sure they're cared for. And honestly, listen, parents with kids like me, we got to be careful because one day they're going to be taking care of us and they're going to make the rules. Because when it's their house, it's their rules. And so you better be careful that your rules are not too harsh and not too mean because the kids are going to come back one day and they're going to have to take care of you and you got to follow their rules. And when your parents pass away, some of you tonight have lost a parent. I'm really sorry that's happened. I have not lost a parent, so I don't know exactly how you're feeling. I just know it has to be hard to lose a parent. But you never stop honoring them. You never lose the opportunity to honor your parents, even when they're gone. Keep highlighting the good. Keep learning from the bad. Keep sharing stories of the great things they did. Thank God for them. And finally, live for Jesus. That's the best way to honor mom and dad. When in doubt about how to honor mom and dad, follow Jesus. Because when you're following Jesus, even if your parents don't agree with the life you're living, you are actually honoring them. They may not think you're honoring them. That may be really hard for them to see you follow Jesus, but you are honoring them your very best when you're following Jesus. And we're actually going to practice honor right now. And so I'm going to ask Makai and Marcos to come on up here. I want to ask Pastor Chase Findell to come on up here. Yeah, so they are going to model for you what it looks like to just take a second and say the things you mean to each other. And so we are really trying to be intentional about being a place where you say the things you mean, the things that mean the most. Period. And so I'm going to give Marcos a chance. I can't remember who's supposed to go first. You don't remember either?
I'm too sensitive.
Okay, Makai's going to go first. So Makai's going to share with Marcos the things he appreciates about his dad. And then Marcos is going to share with Makai how he has honored him. And pay attention because I'm going to ask you, if you have parents here, to talk to them. And if you don't, make a phone call. And if you don't have parents who are alive, we're actually going to have people you can talk to share great memories that you have with your parents. And so everyone's going to have a chance to practice this. So go ahead, Marcos. Oh no, Makai's going to go first.
Hey Dad. You've always been there for me, and you've always guided me towards the right decisions. You being my parent, you've put me in the church, and that was probably priority number one from the day I was born. And I thank you for everything that you've done in that regard. You've guided me in strength, in academics and athletics. You've put me in the right places and the right times. Like, for example, you've gotten me to run ever since I was like 9 or 10. You've put me in a Christian school starting at preschool, so I was only like 4, and I was surrounded by a Christian environment. And I just thank you for that. Without that, I might not be where I am academically or physically or spiritually. Thank you, Dad.
Makai, thank you for honoring me and your mom. By being the oldest, you carry the burden of having to do more chores than the other ones, and you're okay to do more. And thank you for honoring us at school and speaking in the way that you do and being the leader that you are. And we love you, and we just continue to encourage you that way. And most of all, we love that you honor our Father above, and that you're always challenging yourself to be more involved, whether it's with church, youth group, or even at your school. So I love you, and thank you.
Thanks, man. Love you guys. That was really sweet. And that's awesome. Thank you guys for coming and practice that. So in a second, we're going to give you a chance to do that. But before you do that, I want to honor our parent church. And so as a church, we want to do this too. We want to honor churches who have gone before us. You know, the first time we met here this year, we invited one of the pastors of this church that we're meeting at, but they're not actually our sending church. Our sending church is Anthem Church in Vista. And man, I love Pastor Chase Findell and his wife, Lauren. They have been incredible to me. So I'm just going to kind of share how I have just benefited from my friendship with you, my brother. You have been truthful to me. Sometimes I hate it, but you have been a brother to me. The church has been such an incredible support system to us. I've said many times that if a year and a half when I moved here, if we weren't allowed to be part of Anthem and I didn't have the relationship with Chase that we had, I don't know if we would make it to this point. And so like looking out over this courtyard and just seeing all these tables filled with beautiful families, I can't help but think that God used you in so many ways to see like this become a reality. And I'm a better man because of you challenging me and speaking into my life and being able to call you my brother. So thank you.
Yes, man.
Yeah, I don't know if we're allowed to hug right now.
My son. I am so impressed by you and Amy both, and how you guys have come out here and selflessly served our church in so many ways. And our partnership together has been really beautiful. So I'm really incredibly proud of you. I'm proud of your courage to follow God's call to come out here. I'm proud of your faithfulness to the convictions that God gave you specifically. I'm faithful that you haven't compromised on those. I'm faithful that you, in the middle of a pandemic, have still continued to pursue a church. And look, you got a church here. And it's been up and it's been down. But you've kept your eyes up.
Yeah.
I'm grateful that you are a man that lives what you teach. I'm grateful that you are a man that has built a team, that God has built a team, but he's leveraged you to understand that it's not an individual show. It's an audience of one, and the team helps to point the people there. And so, man, I'll tell you right now, you guys have an incredible leadership at this church. It's so healthy, and you have an incredible leader who is so healthy. And I've gotten to see that. And it's been such a beautiful honor for me as a lead pastor of Anthem Church to see how God has grown you both internally and also what he's doing right now in this church externally. So thank you so much for allowing us to be a part of the journey. And I can't wait to see what God does in this next year, man. Love you, bro.
Me too, man. Love you, man. Thank you for being here. Love you. Okay, so we're going to put some soft music on. And it sounds weird, but I want you to take a second. If you have your parents here, just share those things. Share the things that you love about them. Practice really honoring them right here in the moment. If you have someone you'd like to make a phone call to, please make that phone call. And then if you have lost a parent, we actually have 2 people who have volunteered that will be in the back. You can see Holly. Holly lost her amazing mom. Holly would love to hear something about your parent who has passed away. And then Robert Hoffman is quickly making his way back there too. And I see Mike, who's also lost a dad. So anybody that's lost a parent, please feel free to go talk to them. If you need to make a phone call, make a phone call. If you're like me, you have lots of parents. I have a mom, a dad, a stepmom, a stepdad, a mother-in-law, and a father-in-law. And so I'm not exactly sure who I'm going to call right now, but I'm going to try to call at least 1 or 2. So let's take about 5 minutes, and then I will dismiss us here just shortly.